El Plan Trifinio es un organismo regional que forma parte del sistema de la integración centroamericana. Impulsa un proceso de desarrollo transfronterizo y de integración en el territorio con el fin de mejorar las condiciones de vida de las comunidades de la región del Trifinio. Nace el 12 de noviembre de 1986 con la firma del Acuerdo de Cooperación Técnica y Financiera entre los gobiernos de El Salvador, Guatemala y Honduras, con la Comunidad Europea, la Organización de Estados Americanos y el Instituto Interamericano para la Cooperación para la Agricultura. En ese proceso de desarrollo transfronterizo y de integración centroamericana, se firma el Tratado para la ejecución del Plan Trifinio en noviembre de 1997, el cual delimita espacios de intervención, define competencias de la Comisión Trinacional del Plan Trifinio, de sus instancias permanentes y reconoce al territorio como una unidad ecológica indivisible. En octubre del 2017, la Comisión Trinacional delega a la Secretaría Ejecutiva Trinacional elaborar un plan maestro participativo para la región Trifinio, como instrumento de planificación que propicie la construcción de un modelo de gestión territorial transfronterizo para el desarrollo sostenible, impulse el potencial productivo y la atracción de inversiones de la región. Este plan maestro participativo se construyó mediante la ejecución de dos fases a través de cooperación técnica no reembolsable de parte del Consejo Agropecuario Centroamericano y el Banco Centroamericano de Integración.
Del Banco Centroamericano de Integración Económica BCE y el Plan Trifinio.
Give you the warmest of welcomes to this event for the presentation and delivery of the master plan for the Trifinio region. We would like to especially thank the presence of members of cabinets from the governments of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, who join us today for the development of this very important event. His Excellency Vice President of the Republic of El Salvador, Felix Ulloa, His Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Guatemala, Guillermo Castillo, and Her Excellency, Presidential Appointee from the Republic of Honduras, Doris Gutierrez, honorable delegations of the Diplomatic Corps stationed in the Republic of El Salvador, distinguished Mr. Cristian Acosta, Trinational Executive Secretary of Plan Trifinio, distinguished Vilma Rodriguez, Executive Secretary of the Central American Agricultural Council, mayors of the Trifinio region who join us, and all special guests, members of the press, thank you for being here with us, friends, and everyone. I also wanted to tell you all that we are streaming live by our YouTube channel, and we'd like to reiterate a welcome to you all. Now, in order to get this event underway, we would like to ask everyone to please rise to listen to the national anthem, first of all, of the Republic of El Salvador. Let's please remain standing to listen to the national anthem of the Republic of Guatemala. We will now listen to the national anthem of the Republic of Honduras. Please be seated. The Central American Bank for Economic Integration is a multilateral financial institution for development of an international nature. Its resources are continually invested in projects aimed at achieving impacts on development in order to reduce poverty and inequalities, strengthening regional integration and the competitive insertion of partners into the world economy, while paying special attention to environmental sustainability. Plan Trifinio is a regional entity that is part of the Central American Integration System, CICA, which seeks to develop a process for managing the environment and the territory in order to improve the living conditions of border communities. Jointly, they brought together efforts to develop a master plan for the Trifinio region, a plan that becomes essential for actions that enable improvements to the living conditions and standards of living of the population. The plan is composed of the proposed means to lay the foundations for the structural transformations that the development of the region demands. Today, we present to the Trinational Commission for Plan Trifinio, made up of the Vice Presidents of the Republic of El Salvador and Guatemala and the presidential appointee from Honduras, in front of our special guests, in front of our friends from the media, and the public at large. The presentation of this master plan will no doubt bring about expectations for the development of beneficiary families, and it also brings about different actions that will have great scope in the trinational area. To share more details about the perspectives of the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, we are joined by the Executive Secretary, Mr. Dante Mossi, who we would like to ask to join us up on the stage. Please welcome. Good morning, Vice President of the Republic of El Salvador, Felix Ulloa, Guillermo Castillo, Vice President of Guatemala, our friend Doris Gutierrez, Presidential Appointee from Honduras, who I've known for many years, distinguished Mr. Cristian Acosta, Trinational Executive Secretary of Plan Trifinio, Vilma Rodriguez, Executive Secretary of the Central American Agricultural Council, mayors of the Trifinio region, special guests, friends from the media, and all of our friends here today. For me, it is a true honor to share this morning with you all, to share a moment in time in which we'll be making the formal presentation of the master plan for the Trifinio region. I would like to thank the usual warmth that we've been provided here in El Salvador in order to address the needs of the region. Today we have the participation of a select group of actors from very high levels, all of them linked and related to economic and social development of the Trifinio region. This beautiful region that is driven forward by the joint work of over 35 years between El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, all of them founding members of CABEI, in order to foster its productive potential and generate benefits for all of its inhabitants. CABEI, as a multilateral bank for all Central Americans, has a mission to foster integration, economic and social development in a balanced way throughout the region, and we work decidedly in order to support the actions of partner countries, especially with a view towards generating high-impact initiatives and furthering development. Thanks to the joint efforts of different actors involved from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, under the leadership of the Trinational Commission of the Trifinio region and with the support of CABEI, the master plan for the Trifinio region becomes a reality today. We are responding to a mandate from our commission, and it is presented to your population and to the friends from the international stage that wish to join us in order to make sure that this plan can be a management plan that can trigger new investment in the area. Since June 2019, when the Trinational Commission of the Trifinio region requested to CABEI their support, CABEI said you can count on us with a clear vision which would be the basis in order to build a new stage of development in that area. The Trifinio region has historically faced various challenges that have affected the social and economic development, such as the lack of job opportunities and social inequality, and a lack of food and nutrition security. A desertification process in which its natural resources have been impaired. In addition, the Trifinio region is strongly impacted by climate change. In addition to the fact that it's located in the dry corridor, the Central American region. You know that the SICA region is highly exposed to the severe effects of climate change. Recent events such as the ETA and Iota hurricanes hit very hard the region and showed how vulnerable the region is against these effects. Between 1996 and 2015, Honduras and Guatemala were deemed to be 2 of the 10 countries that were the most vulnerable against climate change. In addition, the Central American region has a challenge of reactivating its economies in the post-pandemic world, the worst socio-economic crisis that this region has ever faced in the past few years. Now, as we know, the situation also represents an opportunity so that change, a new direction, an opportunity to introduce new mechanisms that can foster local development and which may lead us to cross-border models that can be sustainable and reduce inequality. Taking into consideration all these challenges, having a master plan becomes an indispensable tool in order to make decisions and, above all, something which I think is very important. On top of all the poetry that's included in a plan, the plan also includes actions in order to improve the living conditions of this population that's so demanded. This plan opens the doors in order to try to look for structural transformations. We at CABEI always work hand in hand with our member countries so that we can reach resilient change and development. The Master Plan of the Trifinio region 2021-2051 sets forth a historical milestone in the country as a dynamic and inclusive instrument which brings together the 3 governments at the national, regional, and local levels, the private sector, civil society, and the citizenry as a whole, with the intent of triggering the economic production and creating the opportunities that the region so needs. Now, CABEI is your bank, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Bank of all Central America, and we are here to set up commercial relationships and to foster economic development in the region. I feel very proud of participation of CABEI in building this plan, and we are ready to address all needs and prioritized actions within it, with fresh financial resources and different modalities and financial instruments. I would like to truly state my thanks to the Vice Presidents for keeping this matter on the agenda. To the Vice Presidents and the Presidential appointee, of course, civil society, actors from the region, other donors that have been cordially invited to help this area to undertake this participatory master plan. Now, from the viewpoint of the bank, it is essential for this model to be an example for the entire region, in particular to protect the Lempa River Basin. Count on the bank to help you and to use this as an example to how common problems can be solved in common. Thank you very much for being here. Have a pleasant day. Thank you very much for your words. We will now like to invite the Vice President of the Republic of Guatemala, Guillermo Castillo, to join us up on the stage to share his address regarding this master plan. Thank you. Very good morning. I would like to once again welcome my colleagues Doris from Honduras and Felix Ulloa, Vice President of El Salvador, Nante Mosi, president of CABEI and all the teams that are here with us. Hugo Eteta from ECLAC, friends from the Diplomatic Corps, government officials, special guests, all of you welcome, and thank you for being here with us for this activity. Now, the first thing I want to say is honor the memory of my colleague, Vicente Carpio Vicorio. Roberto, Vice President of Guatemala from 1986 to 1991, had great ideals for integration, and evidently with the support of Vinicio Cerezo, the president back then, and the vice presidents of the entire region, managed to start a series of changes and processes and the creation of institutions and entities such as Parlasing, such as Plan Trifinio and many others, which were aimed at doing this. And this is a relay in the race every 4 years or every 5 years, depending on the constitutions of the nations. But I never imagined, I want to be very honest about this, I never imagined when I became a part of Plan Trifinio to find someone so determined to drive it forward as Felix Ulloa. And it's not just because my colleague is here. I can honestly say this, and I believe that with the help of Doris, who will join us throughout this process, we are sure that exercises such as the one that we are conducting today with the support of CABEI will no doubt help a lot more in what we aim to do with these processes to improve and enhance the conditions of our brothers and sisters in the region who need so much better conditions. So that's why I think that it's also a message to the mayors of the almost 65 municipalities to see and make sure that this continues to take place with the help of international cooperation and the support from the government so that we can generate better conditions. In Guatemala, I'm in charge of coordinating the social and economic cabinet, and in many fora in which I participate, many people tell me, well, wealth has to be distributed, but beyond distributing wealth, what we have to distribute is prosperity, giving people better living conditions. Than to mention this, all the lacks and the risks that the municipalities are exposed to in our region. Right now, there's a debate, an ongoing debate in my country about the hardening of sentences for coyotes or illegal people traffickers, and the only people responsible for, it would seem as though the only people responsible for the trafficking of persons is the coyotes, but that's not the truth. People leave because they want to look for a better life or to rejoin their families. If we provide education, better income opportunities, better jobs, no one will leave. We can do this through projects such as these, through the launch of the master plan, through which we hope to have better tools so that these conditions can in fact take place. We have seen with great gratitude and decision for the launch to take place here in El Salvador because of the commitments that Felix, with the support of Doris and myself, will be having throughout this process with the launch and then with all the corresponding actions that are yet to be defined. Thank you very much for joining us, and I am sure that together we will move ahead. Thank you very much, Vice President, for your very kind words. Now, for the 3 countries that make up the Trifinio region, this plan is extremely important. Not just important, but it's a turning point in the history since it fosters development and benefits the inhabitants of the area. Now, we will be joined up on the stage by the presidential appointee of the Republic of Honduras, Doris Gutierrez, so that she can share her address on the plan. Thank you very much. A good morning to you all. I would like to thank God for the opportunity to be here at such a transcendental event. This is the continuation of the dream of one of the greatest men in the history of America and Central America, the stalwart of Central American integration, General Francisco Morazán Quesada, who I would like for all of us to give a big round of applause. Francisco Morazan, jointly with his wife, always dreamed of unity in the Central American region. That is why, when he was taken to the execution squad, he said, "I declare that my love for Central America dies with me. I would like to encourage youth, who was the one called upon to transform these countries, to achieve Central American unity and integration." So all young people, women and men, we are all committed to this process to bring about unity and union. Only through union and unity will we truly be strong. Secondly, I wanted to say that as a woman, as a female citizen, I feel honored and very pleased to say that in our country, in 200 years' time, we managed to have a woman be a magistrate of the country. Iris Xiomara Castro, historical event. It was not easy for her to reach this position that she currently holds, because people always say that women can't do something. They always say that women belong in the home, that women need to dedicate themselves to just accept the decisions taken by gentlemen, and some who are not so gentlemen, because violence in our country is a very severe problem. Violence in the entire region is a severe problem. I wanted to tell you quite honestly that I feel that in this Plan Trifinio, which is the beginning of a new era, we need more active participation, more dynamic participation, and more effective participation by women. Thus far, we've seen that throughout different levels, the relationship is not equal. The levels of guidance provided by gentlemen or management position held by gentlemen are not the same as those held by women. The chance that lies ahead of us is quite big. So we hope that in 4 years' time we'll have a lot more women here saying we're participating under equal conditions in Plan Trifinio. So I would like to call upon our colleagues, sisters, to fight together so that we can all, in one way or another, have access to all the objectives and benefits that this plan can bring about for our communities. I wanted to tell you that one of my expectations is that this plan have a female face, and for the cross-cutting axis of all the key points be, in fact, the participation of most of the population, which is women, in particular rural women. So women, a big round of applause for all of you who are here today. And a very strong commitment in the spaces where we're at so that we can achieve greater and greater participation as time goes by. I wanted to tell you that this plan will not be successful, as my friend Dante Mossi was saying. It can't just be a bunch of words printed out in paper or a bunch of digital presentations that are saved away somewhere. If it doesn't reach people, if the mayors and governors and both male and female don't make a commitment to this, it will have the same fate as many studies, at least in my country. You can fill an entire building with a bunch of studies, but they never actually get put to work. They never actually benefit the people that they're intended to benefit. I'd like to invite everyone here, many actors, some from SICA, some from private entities, to please let's everyone work together. Let's come together so that we can achieve the very important objectives that we've set out in the plan. And also have the budget be transparent, knowing what will be spent, in what will it be spent, and have people be the people who control us. I would like to request the mayors in our country, in the area, most of them are male. I think all of them are male. Big round of applause to them as well, because they're here too. And tell you that you are our main allies, governors and mayors of the area. If you don't really lean into this program, if you don't make the commitments, then that'll be the very first hurdle that we have to face. I end my address by asking everyone to become united, integrated, and for this Plan Trifinio to have a female voice and a female face, because women are forgers of peace, truth, and solidarity. Like Juana Pavón used to say, a poet laureate of Honduras, men and women united are invincible and nothing will stop us. So let's keep going. Colleagues, our commitment to take the name of Honduras to very, very far, to gradually tell people this is getting accomplished, this isn't getting accomplished. Let's not wait for 4 years and then say, oh, we couldn't do this. We need to hold standing meetings so that we can see what's going on and we can report to people what is happening, because people need to be informed. Usually these plans, since they're a little bit far away from decision centers, a lot of information isn't known, but we have to make a commitment for all stakeholders and actors to become engaged in this and to know about it. Central America united, together we will stand. Thank you once again for such inspiring words. We continue with the agenda. And as a host country, we would now like to invite the Vice President of the Republic of El Salvador, Felix Ulloa, to join us up on the stage in order to share an important message about the country's participation in the master plan. Distinguished audience, colleagues from the Trinational Commission, Doris, Guillermo, Dante, President of the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, and everyone who is joining us for the launch of this master plan for the Trifinio region. It's a multi-annual planning instrument which started to be drafted back in 2019 when we were just joining the Trinational Commission. I myself chaired a CABEI meeting on behalf of President Bukele. We held the SICA pro tempore presidency, and since CABEI is an entity of the regional system, we had to chair it. That's where I met Dante, and I was very surprised and amazed to listen to two interventions that he made. One of them telling us that CABEI had reached a AA risk rating, and it was positioned as one of the best banks in the entire region. And that in addition, the SICA region, all 8 states that make up the system, are the 4th economy, the 4th largest economy in all of Latin America. That's an important datum which filled us with great pride. And then he told us, this is your bank. And we took his word for it. This is the bank of the states, of member states, the 5 original founding member states, the other regional states that joined, and on that day we were accepting an extra-regional partner, the Republic of Korea. Now, with that idea, when I joined the Trinational Commission, I told them, well, we have a bank that can help us to come up with a strategic plan, a work instrument that is multi-annual, pluriannual, and which may enable us to guide the sustainable development, and with a 2030 agenda of the sustainable development goals in mind, so that we can work on these 7,500 square kilometers. That's the area of the Trifinio region, with a governance of 45 local governments from all 3 countries, and several productive processes of all kinds, where we have vegetables, all sorts of crops, coffee plantations. The Trifinio region exports 5% of all coffee worldwide. That means that there's great potential that can be worked on if we plan it correctly. And with that vision, we requested the Central American Bank for Economic Integration their assistance, their cooperation, which was spontaneous and quite receptive to this. And as a result of that work, we now have this master plan, which is projected for a time frame of 30 years. We're thinking beyond the 2030 agenda, beyond the 2040 agenda that was set forth as a Central American Development Program. We are trying to see and look after the development of the region for the long term. So in that regard, we wanted to send a message, not just to the population, which in the region we have over 1 billion people who are constantly trading goods and services. There's also great human mobility, which is part of our agenda, to create a census in the region so that we can avoid business people who go through borders, who have to waste time in passing the borders with our products, to ensure that services are provided, not just administrative processes. We have a lot of Hondurans that come to El Salvador to get their remittances, to cash their remittances. There's a lot of development and need to overcome different administrative processes in the region and do away with a lot of red tape. But also we wanted to present this to the international community as a work proposal that will enable anyone who wants to invest in the region to find an instrument where you can find these mechanisms for receptivity and proactivity so that investment can be productive and profitable. We would like, therefore, to tell you all that we have thought that Plan Trifinio may be an element that can streamline another project, that can catalyze another project that we also started to look at in 2019, the CICA region plus Mexico and Colombia, a region of 10 states, in which we asked ECLAC to prepare a document that may address different problems in the region, and especially in the case of the 3 countries of Northern Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, and the state of southeastern Mexico. That's where the development plan created by ECLAC came about, which was approved last year in a meeting with ECLAC in Mexico. Mexico accepted it immediately with 2 very important programs with a substantial allocation of resources, the plan called Sembrando Vidas, Planting Life, which is aimed at agriculture, where Ambassador Ricardo has been a pioneer in all this, and the other one that's aimed at youth. But it's almost 400 projects that we have to develop in this region, in southeastern Mexico and the 3 northern countries of Central America. So we believe that the master plan of Plan Trifinio can be a catalyst for this region. And we would like for the current administration of the U.S., the Biden administration, who has entrusted Vice President Kamala Harris to address the region, to please listen to the fact that we do have proposals, a very serious and integrated proposal that is well structured and which may be a reception mechanism for all that multi-million-dollar aid that has been announced and that has been entrusted to Vice President Harris so that she can implement it and also find in this plan an instrument, a tool that can help her to develop the policies, the projects that they have foreseen to be implemented in the region. We wanted to send this message directly to Vice President Kamala Harris because we know that this interest exists. There's interest from the U.S., from the current administration, to come to the region and work with us. And we see this in a positive light. We believe that this is the time in which we can find some common ground so that we can mitigate one of these social phenomena that ail both our region and the U.S., and which also affects Mexico: forced migration. My predecessors were saying people don't just leave because they want to leave. They leave our countries because they have to, because the precariousness and violence conditions force young people to emigrate. So with these projects, such as the ones that have been set forth in the master plan and in the comprehensive development program, we're setting forth conditions so that the development in our countries can generate those jobs, these development opportunities, these opportunities to study, to work for well-being. Because like Guillermo was saying, it's not about generating or distributing wealth, it's about distributing prosperity. Well, now with the PDI and the potential interaction with the Vice President of the U.S., if they're committed to fighting against the causes that generate migration and they wish to intervene in a very specific way with our governments and our communities based on our perspective as this plan has been set forth, because this plan was a product of a very serious methodology, a scientific methodology that did a lot of field work in different municipalities with different families and managed to systematize a lot of information that enabled us to generate this multi-annual plan. If we want to work in this regard and overcome the old ways that were tried in the past, we remember that when President Biden was vice president, he came to the region many times. They had a plan called the Proposal for Prosperity, which we never saw materialize. We would also like, since $1 billion have been advertised for the region, for there to be an actual large-scale investment in the region, because many times something is advertised, but it's not invested in the country. I remember that one time I met with then Ambassador Shannon, who wanted to state that there were 200 million to help with migrant children for the region. And when we asked him how much of those 200 or 300 million were going to be invested, he said 10 million, because $290 million were going to be used in the U.S. to hire more judges, to expand prisons, refurbish facilities, and so on. That type of help is not the help that's going to help us overcome our problems. With this master plan, as a catalyst of the Comprehensive Development Program, the PDI, which has as a component Plan Trifinio, we believe that we can indeed make a more effective use of this contribution, which we hope can be materialized quite soon. But in addition to the U.S., there are other partners and other actors from the international community that have shown their interest, and they are indeed working with us already in the region, from the UN to programs of the World Food Program, UN Women. In fact, with regard to what Doris was saying, I just wrapped up a meeting quite soon with UN Women, and we were going over some promising experiences for sustainable development that may lead to financial autonomy of women. And in Plan Trifinio, we saw how women have developed the project called MELIT, the second version, with the support of Italian cooperation. So women have to be an important driver of development in the region. In the Trifinio region, we have identified them, but we also have interactions with women, thanks to the support of mayors, that have allowed us to hold these discussions, who've opened their doors for us to work in these municipalities that the plan will be engaged in. So with the UN, it is no longer a possibility. It's an experience, a very satisfactory experience that's underway. But there are also other collaborators, other allies, the People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, which recently just approved a worldwide project called the Landscape Program with an allocation of 100 million pounds sterling over a period of 7 years, which chose 5 regions throughout the world. And one of those regions is the Mesoamerican region, where Plan Trifinio will take place. I would like to thank Great Britain for that contribution. From Germany, with the KfW, we have historically had substantial and very important support to implement programs. Quite recently, the Kingdom of Morocco has also been active in the region with significant support so that we can undertake different projects such as Disagro, a system for technological agriculture with which we're producing organic compost so that we can help greenhouses, plant nurseries, home gardens, and this will allow to generate a harmonious relationship with nature, trying to avoid using chemical fertilizers. Green environment funds. In fact, at the end of this month, we will sign an agreement. So we have several partnerships and alliances with the international community, which are very important to show that this project, this cross-border, trinational project that has existed for over 2 decades, and with a vision of true integration in order to benefit the communities, and having as a time horizon this dream of Central American unity. And Doris so well mentioned that dream of Francisco Morazan. We would like for this to be emulated by other regions within our own SICA region. In fact, we're talking about a Trifinio 2 for the Gulf of Fonseca, or we're talking about how to integrate with the island part of our region, such as the Dominican Republic, which is already a part of the system. There are several opportunities so that if it is true, as is what Dante Mossi said, that the SICA region is the 4th economy of all of Latin America, so that we can actually have the opportunity to be right now preparing ourselves for a post-pandemic world, as all regions throughout the world are doing. We had prepared an action plan for a post-pandemic world in a wide region. We just approved that action plan in Belize. It's the SICA and CARICOM region. But we didn't know, we didn't expect, no one was expecting COVID in the first place, but we didn't expect this war that's currently ongoing between Russia and Ukraine. This will of course affect us, and that's why we said it in Belize. We just repeated it very recently in an ECLAC region in Costa Rica. We'll have to update a lot of our plans and programs that we had all set and ready to go so that we can start the new normal once the COVID pandemic was over. Right now we'll have to adjust this because stronger economic contractions will take place because of a scarcity of commodities, because of logistical problems will also be worsened, and also many other factors will hit our very delicate economies quite hardly. That's why that's why a program such as this with a long-term vision can allow us to foster development. Like Doris was saying, we need to continuously be monitoring it, but we also need to monitor it, measure it, and also readapt it to this new reality that the entire world will face once we know what the effects of this armed conflict will be. So by presenting this master plan to you all from the government of El Salvador and with the greetings from President Bukele, we wanted to restate the commitment of our government to continue to strengthen Central American integration projects, to give Plan Trifinio all the support that it needs in order to achieve its goals and objectives. And we wanted to once again thank the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, its president, for having allowed us to create this document, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice President, for this very important message. So we will now move on to that point in time where we will deliver the master plan for Trifinio region by Mr. Dante Mossi, Executive President of CABEI, to the Trinational Commission, represented by the Vice Presidents of the Republics of Guatemala and El Salvador, and the presidential appointee from Honduras, whom we asked to come up on the stage to officially receive the master plan for the Trifinio region.
Official moment. This is a big memorable and emblematic moment for the region. We're going to wait a few minutes for the official picture. Congratulations. So kindly, Mr. Dante Mossi, can you please stay with us, because now we have another bullet of our agenda for recognition. We're going to give an award to President Dante Mossi and Vilma Rodriguez on behalf of the Trinational Commission. This award is going to be delivered by Doris Gutierrez. Thank you. I was not prepared, but of course, I'm very glad to give this award, this recognition to our colleague from Honduras, Dante Mossi, that is currently the president of the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, defined as a bank for all the people of Central America. And we have to benefit from it, but less interest, right? And the social part as well. So it says Plan Trifinio, Waters Without Borders, Trinational Commission of Plan Trifinio it's grateful with President Dante Mossi, Executive President of the Central American Bank of Integration, CABEI, for its motion and the help to build the participation plan of the Plan Trifinio. So here you have it. This is what we will hand to President Mossi. And the same recognition from Vilma Rodriguez. If you can please come to the front of the room. We are also handing the same award for her. Now I'm an expert. Water Without Borders, Plan Trifinio, Transnational Commission, express how grateful we are with Vilma Lucrecia Rodriguez Peñalba, Executive Secretary of the Agricultural Council of Central America, SECA, by supporting the building of the Participation Master Plan for the Trifinio region. Vilma is not here, but we have, oh no, we do have Vilma. I apologize. So very happily, you can see that we have women representation, and thank you for being here. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for this award and recognition. So after delivering the master plan and these awards, now we have to welcome officially, once we have and the protocol, we have at the Secretariat of the Plan Trifinio, Cristiana Costa, who is going to be with us with an important message. Thank you. Good morning. Your Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of El Salvador, Felix Ulloa, Your Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Guatemala, Guillermo Castillo, Doris Gutierrez from Honduras, distinguished President Dante Mossi, Executive President of the Central American Bank for Economical Integration, Mario Simeoli, Attached Secretariat of the Latin American Commission, ECLA, Vilma Rodriguez, Executive Secretariat of CAP, Andres Sanchez, President of the Water Plan of the Organization of American Countries, Jorge Urbina, Jorge Aguilar, Executive Director of Plan Trifinio in Honduras, Guillermo Diaz, Executive Director of the National Trifinio Plan in Guatemala, representatives of the Central American Integration SICA, International Cooperation, OEA, Great Britain, Germany, Italian, Morocco. We are jointly executing projects in the region. Ambassadors, diplomatics present on the region, mayors of different municipalities that are gathered here today, 45 mayors of the Trifinio region, governors, friends from the media. Welcome to the launch program of a Trifinio plan. Trifinio is historically, and now it's an important day because we are launching the Master Participation Plan that is a strategy, a document for planning, and a strategy for planning for the next 30 years. We have been doing isolated efforts that we have not been able to measure because of lacking the indicators. But from this master plan, we're going to be able to evaluate, as Doris mentioned, annually, every 5 years, every 10 years, to change the life condition of almost 1 million people that are living on the region. This is why it's very important, and I would like to thank, as Doris mentioned, thank the bank, thank President Mossi for opening the doors of the bank and be able to promote and build this document, but also to the Economical Council, GAC, represented by Vilma Lucrecia Rodriguez, through the straightening plan of the intersectorial CABEI with countries that have been financed by the CID, who financed the survey as the first stage of the plan. This was executed in the rural area on 45 municipalities of the region through community surveys, interviews, workshops, and this methodology has been defined on the Central American strategy of the territorial development ECADER and is connected with the 5 pillars of SICA that harmonize the Trifinio plan in accordance with the Sustainable Development Objectives of the United Nations organization. So in 35 years, as I mentioned, we have been able to, in these 35 years, to build alliances with international cooperation. We have coordinated with the 3 governments in the region, and we have a synergy with the local governments. We have been able to build the social tissue and the economical tissue with small producers on different sectors to improve the life of the population. This has been done through different projects during these 35 years. But now we have a long-term vision to a more organized vision and with greater participation. This is why the most relevant event, after subscribing, of course, with the member countries of the Commission in 1997. So we hope that we are able to coordinate with this tool, the cooperation with the 3 governments regarding the needs of the region, and to make the efforts and to invest at a regional level with local plans, define strategies for the active participation of the associate producers, private sector, civil society that's organized, giving priority to gender focus, the needs of our young people, tackling irregular migration and creating the opportunities for young people and for women. So this master plan invites us to build a development transporter plan. This is the titular entity that promotes the policies, the processes, but it's up to each of us gathered here this morning to be able to present and to change the conditions, the life conditions of our population. And this is only done together at a more sustainable level. Thank you. Thank you for these remarks. Continuing with the event, we know that building a master plan as the one that we have developed for Trifinio plan represents activation of different areas, being the agricultural, the most important and the one with greater benefits for the region. Therefore, I would like to have the Executive Director of the Central American Committee, Vilma Rodriguez, because she also has a very important message for us. Thank you to all of the authorities. It's an honor for me to be here and to see the result of the work that we have been doing with this plan, as the Vice President of El Salvador mentioned, initiated in 2019, a product of more than 4 years that we are seeing this day and delivering it to the communities and to the Trifinio Plan Group. So on behalf of the Secretariat, the Central American Agriculture Council that has been supported at a technical but also financial part to this commission, this has been a process in which we have proved coordination at an institutional level in our work, because this is all the integration system, the construction, that was the methodological guide that we used so the bank could work in the plan. This is how we have built and we have worked, and now we can see the results in form of a document. So this is an example, I think, on how, with the resources that we have from the corporation, we can potentialize the development of the territories that we want to work in. So from our behalf, this is still a commitment to continue with the financial and technical support. I would like to thank, on our behalf, of course, the Corporation of Taiwan and the Andalusian Corporation. They have been two corporations that have been providing the resources for the construction, the company, assessment, research and studies for the Trinational Commission, and the commitment, of course, to continue providing the technical assistance and the support, but also to thank the bank especially, because this has proven how we complement each other, and how the bank that was born in the first place for the development of the integration system, it's doing its work. And through the Central American Agricultural Council, and now that agriculture is a pillar, important pillar on the development of our countries, can potentialize and can prove the rural development that is overall everything that we have been doing throughout the process. So again, thank you. And we will, of course, continue with the technical and financial support as we can, and with the resources that we can, but we are very thankful that we have been able to prove the integration, at least from the agricultural side. Thank you. And now it's time to see the master plan, the Trifinio plan, represented by Idon, that is the consultant firm that supported the building of this plan, Maria del Castillo Paez, and Executive Secretariat of the Trifinio plan, Cristian Acosta, so they can officially present the plan. Good morning, everyone. We are very glad to be here. I don't have much time to present the master plan. This is something that we have been doing for more than 1 year, so I hope that I can do it as best as I can, and to inform you about the results of this important research, important plan for the region. A presentation first of how the plan is formed. Trifinio region is where we have the three borders of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, and we have a population of around 130,000 inhabitants, a surface of 7,000 square kilometers. Guatemala has 57% of the population, Honduras 30%, and El Salvador 13%. We have been working 35 years in the economic integration from year 97, where the treaty was signed between the countries of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. We signed the plan with the Trinational Commission. This was a previous agreement in 1986, a technical agreement with the three governments, and 1987 and 1982, where we started identifying certain actions, programs, and projects for the regional development process of the Trifinio area. This master plan has different phases. As we know, one of the phases was the diagnosis, the baseline. That was a starting point for the follow-up and the evolution of the actions strategy that defines programs, projects, and action plans for the programs that we have prioritized. We have had transversal participation because we were working with the communities, identifying the main problems We have been doing this service that we were commenting about to collect the whole information about the households to be able to generate this baseline. Working with the 3 countries, public governments, and meetings with the productive sector. Trifinio region right now has a socio-economical gaps that are very important. 67% of the population is rural, and they don't have access to the services, education, health, and at the same time they are disconnected because they don't have the transportation infrastructure that they need. 49% and 51% of the population are also important to mention due to gender. Poverty, 38% of the population is living in poverty. In government, 40% of the active population is looking for a job. 46% of the households are presenting some gaps and some problems to get what they need. They don't have equality on the salaries, and 12% of the households have some of the family members abroad. But also we have a series of opportunities and some challenges within the master plan. The Trifinio region is something that has an ecological and natural value. 17 areas are protected and 13% of the surface is a protected natural area since 2011 on the Biosphere program. Regarding the basins, we have Rio Lempa River that is transnational, Motagua, it's binational basin, and Rio Lua in Honduras. We need integral management of the 3 countries to preserve the ecosystem. Apart from this rural population, we have 300,000 people living in the urban area. In additional cities that are consolidated, Chiquimula, 100,000 inhabitants, Chiquimula, 77,000, Esquipulas, 66,000, and Copan Ruinas with 41,000. These are gathering the main part of the health and education systems. This is also a region that is well connected. It has 5 regional corridors and 5 different borders, crossing points of borders, less than 200 kilometers from the main cities. San Salvador, around 2 hours, Guatemala 3 hours, and San Pedro Sula almost 4 hours of distance. And as we know, livestock and agriculture are the engine of the region. So in this map, we can see the differences of the activities and how depend on the morphology of the region. In western area, we can determine that everything is greener because we have agroforestry and we have forest. But in this area that I'm pointing out, the yellow is represented for basic rains and harvest. The soil, 38% is for production soil, and this 38%, 33% is for agroforestry coffee, and 38% for basic grains. So we are witnessing a region that has great possibilities on agricultural levels. Not everything is good. 33% of deforestation, so we need to protect the forest area. Regarding the main activities, as we comment, main products will be basic grains, vegetables, fruits, and livestock. But also, it's important to highlight that we have differences on the products that are very good for exports in the international market, mainly coffee, 26 hectares of production, 20,000 producers around the world advocated that is being produced at the time, and it's an agroforestry system diversifying coffee and it's a complemented activity. Peaches, it's similar, and honey is very important in Guatemala, and El Salvador, and cocoa in Guatemala. The region also had a very important tourism activity, 2 million visitors prior to the pandemic, and it has a series of products at a touristic level: ecotourism, agrotourism, cultural tourism, religious, and adventure. And from a few years, we have been working on a Trinational route with theme corridors with the most important site visits. Now, going to the proposal of the master plan, the most important part has defined strategies and priorities on the projects. The vision of the Trifinio group that we were working in, where can we go? What's the future of Region Trifinio? We believe that to a region that is more adapted to climate change, so we're defining objectives for the master plan, promoting this transporter, coordinated, sustainable, and stable, and a series of strategies, objectives on a scale economy based on these differentiated products to have chain values for these primary activities, diversify economy, and promote jobs for women, primary activities to generate the infrastructure, the logistic for the whole production sector, to promote training and works in integral level, mainly for the natural areas and the hydrology basins. We have a whole structure that we have gathered in 4 different programs: socio-economical program, original communities, climate change, and strengthening the governance at an institutional level. So all of this program has sub-programs of important topics that we have discussed already, such as migration, gender, original countries, climate change, strengthening institutional governance. And going to some projects that have been prioritized, we have 7 that are short term that we consider that will be developed in the next 10 years, in which total investment that we have estimated for the execution is $38 million. So we hope to generate 200,000 jobs and 500 indirect jobs. The projects of 2 industrial parks that are the ones that are generating greater impact and jobs, and to keep these people from fleeing and from migrating. These 2 parks will be located in Metapan, El Salvador, and Santa Catarina Mita in Guatemala. We will see that the activities complement each other, and they have been created under a regional approach. So what we want is to generate chain values from all of the activities that we have in Trifinio, to continue it, to strengthen the current vocation for agriculture. And we have studied, as we see down here, all of the chain values, the sectors that we have analyzed: vegetable, fruits, and livestock, basic grains, and coffee. And at the same time, all of the projects, we have determined the infrastructure that we need, the demand, the social infrastructure, etc., with a social and environmental evaluation, because at the end we want to reach a stable region. The agro-industrial park in Metapan will be located on the scheduled area of the city of Metapan. It will have a population of 90,000 inhabitants, and vocations are very aligned to the incentives of the free zone, free duties area of El Salvador, because we want to have incentives to have more private investment. Activities that we have identified for the parks, packs for food, machinery to provide food, and production of forestal and agricultural area. 20 hectares of the park, and apart from this industrial parks, we can have everything that has to do with logistics, infrastructure of services, customs. So we have estimated 616 indirect and 150 direct employments. Santa Catarina Mica, at the same time, we have identified a series of activities that will add value to the productive sector. Basic grains, coffee, fruits, derivates of coffee, cosmetics from honey and coffee. These activities are also aligned of the SOLIC, the economic plan, and having investments, and we have considered 35, and we have been generating 1,300 direct and indirect employment. So to summarize, we have different schemes for the financial part. We have been talking of around $16 million for industrial park in Metapan and 20 for the park in Guatemala. And we have different scenarios. We have identified private or public and private. This is what we recommend the most, and to have some incomes on behalf of the public so we can reinvest on the social infrastructure that we identify as necessary. So to talk about this national coffee program, we want to have a proposal, to work on a proposal of coffees of greater quality of the three countries. We have phases for the execution. We have a juridical framework. We have to create the operational structure, alliances at a public and private sector for the production of coffee, activities to formulate plan with to determine what's the best mix of this coffee, and at the end the production and selling of the product. Trifinio coffee is looking for certain characteristics. It's more wanting to approach transparency, excellency, it's gender-based, and also looking for cooperation. And we have different proposals of different products. One that is produced by women, the other one could have the mix of this best coffees, as I mentioned, and the other one coming from different competitions in the countries. And we want to have a pilot plan of 100 of coffee where we can identify different scenarios at the same time, public and private, or alliances with the Central American Coffee Academy. We're looking to reduce the initial investment as much as we can, and therefore the alliances can provide someone that can has the machinery and the equipment, and we only need the operational staff and inputs. We can see the differences on the data. The scenario in which we have to invest, we're talking about $6,000, and in the one that we should not invest $7,000. So in the first phase, we want to create a Trifinio coffee brand. This space can be at the end a collective brand with the geographic indicator because of the exigencies that are greater. We have identified at the same time, as we commented already, the preservation of the basins that are extremely important. We want to build a treatment plant in Ocotepeque. The beneficiary are 22,000, but at the end, this is a project of high regional impact, and we need downstream this treatment plant because of the pollution of Lempa River. We have some terrains, we have areas in Ocotepeque where we can build the treatment plant. And we're talking of a building cost of $1 million or $1.5 million, and the maintenance $2,000 or $3,100. Then we have the tourism that should be also an important alternative for the Trifinio and for the rural communities. The objective is that we can build a platform that is permanent for the touristic activity of the region, and we have identified a digital gap in the touristic companies that can be overcome in this first stage by creating a platform and where we can have a system of information with a database of the touristic offered and to support the digital part of the sector, especially at the rural area. The association of different companies and different producers that can start creating products for tourism, different productions, and promoting the region through the Trifinio plan, but also on social media. This is also a project that can have a synergy with the one that we will see in just a minute with the SMEs initiative for the region. As we have commented already, this is one of the areas that is one of the most vulnerable towards climate change. So the project for the intelligent agriculture is to provide to the producers a way to be more resilient, oriented for small producers, of course. It consists on the implementation of sustainable agriculture adapted to climate at a multi-sectoral transversal that can provide the knowledge on sustainable production, nutrition, diversification, on how to use the water, association, and working in the community, along with innovation. We want to support throughout the process these communities and to work in climate resiliency, access market. And lastly, we need to identify a strategy to promote SMEs, in which we wanted to have a network to promote alliances within the three countries. So with this, we want to centralize the efforts that we currently have. We have many centers collaborating with SMEs, but we need this trinational synergy of the centers. We want to implement the small business development centers model that is used at an international level, and what we want is to generate alliances, strategic alliances with actors of the region at the public and private and academic area to train the entrepreneurs and the technical staff that can be expert on brands, articulate the productions in the commercialized area, and to have a better access to financing. And with this, we will give the floor to the secretary that is going to tell us about the next steps and the implementation.
Bien, estos proyectos que
Well, now these projects that Maria just shared, the 7 priority projects, or the macro projects of the master plan, but there are also over 80 technical data sheets for the projects in that document that was received by the vice presidents today. So if we'll leave it there where Maria finished, then you might be asking yourselves, is it just another document, just another printout, like the presidential appointee was saying? So the Commission, of course, what it aims to do is set forth this implementation strategy for the master plan. And we would start off with an initial step, which is dissemination in the entire trinational territory. We will hold fora and events promoted by each executive directorate in each country, and we will have a media campaign as well in radio, printed press, and social media so that we can disseminate this, and also workshops with focus groups from the target population. We will go to the territories and we will meet with the beneficiaries of this project so that we can start to implement different actions. We will continue to strengthen the strategic alliances that we've had thus far, and we will sign agreements with key partners in the region such as CABEI, KfW, the OAS, and many others. We'll continue to sign new agreements. Today, as a final point of the agenda, we will sign a memorandum of understanding with ECLAC, how we can include in the master plan in the PDIs for the Mesoamerica region. And we can start coordinating different actions based on these two documents so that we can set forth a strategy to have interventions in the region. We will create multi-level partnerships and alliances at the national, trinational, and local level. It has been this way thus far, but we will strengthen it further. We have also created throughout the history of Trifinio trinational platforms such as the Consulting Committee, the Redosawa, the Trinational Working Group on Coffee, the Trinational Manager of the Trifinio Biosphere and Fraternity, and the network of universities that are already working in the territory. Another step forward will be the funding strategy. We will strengthen different partnerships with CABEI, with the IDB, KfW, the World Bank, and other bi- and multilateral cooperation initiatives, as I was explaining previously. Also, this plan will lead to solidarity funds and different development funds which will be created. The water fund, for the water fund, the IDB is already paying for a consultancy so that we can create the water fund in the Trifinio area. And the fund for the promotion of MSMEs with a gender approach, that is a big project that Maria was just talking about, and we will reactivate the cooperators working group. A couple of years ago with Vice President Felix, we tried to get cooperation all in one single working group, but then the pandemic came along and that endeavor unfortunately fizzled out, but we will reactivate it in the coming months. The action plan is the inclusion of the master plan into the national programs and into municipal programs as well. That is why Doris, quite timely, was saying to the mayors, if the mayors don't become main actors in this planning approach, then this document will basically just be another printout. Now, we will include the master plan to the ECLAC DPI. Mr. Señor is here. We will sign the first MOU under this framework and the execution of priority projects, those 7 projects that Maria was telling you about. And since we have indicators today, we have been making isolated efforts throughout these past 35 years, very scattered many times, but we haven't had any way of saying we have truly reduced poverty by this much, or we have created this impact or this other impact. But this document does provide indicators, so we are designing an assessment and follow-up plan for this participatory master plan. In closing, this is the part that I wanted to convey to you all, something that I've repeated often. The Trinational Commission of Plan Trifinio is the steward entity of all this. It's one that coordinates development throughout the region, and we have to work as a central axis with cooperation, get all cooperation aligned with all the needs that this master plan is dictating. with local governments,
con los planes municipales de
with the
desarrollo
municipal development
insertados en
plans,
el plan maestro,
inserting them into the master plan,
en este plan maestro. Y todo el
inserting them
tejido
into this master plan.
organizativo que
And the
hemos
entire
construido,
fabric of organizations that we have
organizaciones de
built,
café,
coffee
organizaciones
organizations,
de
women,
de miel,
honey
de flores,
farmers, associations of flour producers, arts and crafts in La Palma, all these structures that we have built throughout the past 35 years need to be operationalized based on building territorial development for the Trifinio area. Something else that's very significant, how do we align the programs of national governments with this master plan? How can ministers tell us about the intervention that exists in the territory with the Ministry of Health, with the Ministry of Education, with the Ministry of Public Works in the three countries? How they report this to us will be essential. It will also be essential for us to align all these national plans with the master plan. So the big challenge that lies ahead is for everyone to work together, as Doris was saying, and for us to truly change the living conditions of these 932,000 inhabitants of the Trifinio area. Thank you. Well, thank you for your kind words. And the presentation of the master plan is, of course, a very significant starting off point, which guides the different activities that will benefit people in the Trifinio area. That is why today we also have the presence of municipal authorities from the region who will share with us what it means for the region to have a master plan. I would like to invite the municipal mayor of Esquipulas from the Republic of Guatemala, Carlos Lapola, to join us up on the stage. Good morning to you all. I wanted to start off by thanking God for this opportunity that we all have to listen to this master plan. Welcome, Vice Presidents from Guatemala and El Salvador, Presidential appointee from Honduras. Now, these actions, which pertain to the three countries, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, I would like to thank our special guests from all three countries as well. We are here as representatives from our municipalities and our countries, and we are very thankful for this master plan. I wanted to say that this is a guide that will not allow us to get lost. All the hard work that went into creating this master plan is something that points out to us the needs that exist in all three countries. So from this point on, we need to follow up on this as best as possible to make sure that things are achieved as laid out in the master plan. We know full well that the bank is supporting us, that is providing its full support in this initiative. Thank you very much for this opportunity that we receive as representatives of the three countries. We as mayors are the authorities that know full well the challenges that we face in the 45 municipalities associated to Plan Trifinio. We would like to tell you that we have an initiative to have closer ties with our brother nation of El Salvador, because water starts in Chiquimula and it ends in El Salvador. We wanted to also tell you about this. Please take into account this initiative that we're working on together with our friends and brothers from El Salvador. So, friends, thank you very much for the great support that you have provided to Plan Trifinio in order to follow up on the needs that exist in the three countries associated with Plan Trifinio. God bless this initiative, and God willing, we will follow through on it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for your kind words. We also have another important message from the President of the Association of Municipalities of the Republic of Honduras, Nelson Castellanos. We would like to invite the Municipal Mayor of La Palma, Maribel Escobar, who also has a very important message to share with us. Good morning to you all. His Excellency, Vice President of El Salvador, my great friend Felix Ulloa, His Excellency, Vice President of Guatemala, a pleasure to have you here again. Now we have to go taste that hen soup in La Palma. It's famous. Her Excellency, Presidential Appointee from Honduras, Madame Doris, I wanted to tell you that in El Salvador, President Bukele has empowered women. Give an example of that is that I am here now as the mayor of the municipality of La Palma. And it's not just our president, but our vice president also has taken on the work of empowering women in El Salvador. As the person in charge of the Biosphere project, I want to tell you that this project of the Trifinio plan brings about a very important element. It's a guide that we'll work on jointly. All the mayors from the Trifinio area, the 55 mayors that compose this region. I, as the chairwoman, will make sure that this plan, this master plan, is complied with. I believe that Doris already said this. If the mayors don't become engaged with this, this will be just another printout. But for this to be a success, we also need for all of you, ambassadors from the different countries that are here with us today, but not just in El Salvador, but also those in Honduras and Guatemala. You need to empower people so that development can come along the Trifinio region. I was talking to the ambassador of the European Union a while ago, and also with the ambassador of the United Kingdom, David Elliott, and I was asking him, how can we further develop our municipalities if international cooperation, ambassadors themselves don't approach our region? You need to start visiting municipalities, not just in El Salvador, but also in Honduras and Guatemala, so that you can bear witness to the realities that people live in those municipalities. But beyond that, you'll also be able to better target international cooperation through this master plan. If we have over 30 ambassadors in El Salvador, imagine how many more if we add Honduras and Guatemala. And if every ambassador tries to say, Vice President of El Salvador, Vice President of Guatemala, appointee from Honduras, it'd be great if they could say, well, we are 30 ambassadors in El Salvador, some others in Honduras, some other in Guatemala. What if we all come together and make a commitment with this master plan, and we try to set up a project that tries to address every axis of this program? We will be bringing along close to 100 development projects, not just for a municipality or just for one country, but for all the countries. Now, the Trifinio area has one of the most important biosphere reserves in all of Latin America. Added to that, we have the best coffee, like Doris was saying, and add to that we also have the best rivers, the best landscapes. And something that we need to start working on in unity is the matter of the Lempa River. Talking with the Vice President of El Salvador, I was telling him the pollution that exists in the Lempa River is so complicated, And the mayor of Honduras has actually told us that we'll receive some cooperation so we can address this problem. But again, don't leave it just as a printout. Don't let them be empty words. Let's get to work. Let's get to action. Ambassadors, NGOs, private institutions, ministers, everyone needs to get to work. Because if we continue to just say a few nice words, right now everyone's losing their time. I'm losing my time being here right now. I can't travel from La Palma over to San Salvador 4 or 5 hours, getting up at 3 a.m. for an event. But it'll just be some empty words printed out on some paper and everyone else doesn't get to work. That is not fair. So I would like to invite everyone to please, let's get to work on this master plan. It's not just any plan. There are so many brilliant things in the plan. A lot of love has been dedicated into it. A lot of willpower has been mustered for it. Ever since I became the chairwoman for the Biosphere Reserve program, I think I knocked on the doors of every ambassador that's here and on the doors of every institution, and I told them about the Biosphere Reserve over and over again because this is what I wanted for them to see. This plan is the foundation so that the entire region of Plan Trifinio can be well developed. We at the regional level don't want anyone to just come along and gift us millions. No, those funds that you have made available, we want them to be implemented as best as possible so that development can be fostered. We want to have a developed region, as is Europe, as are other countries of Latin America. But if you don't take on the commitment to follow the guidelines set forth in the Trifinio Master Plan, then this event is as good as it will get. As a woman from La Palma, as an empowered woman, Doris, I want to tell you that I will do my best to make sure that this plan can be developed. I will be following every single aspect of it, and the doors of my municipality is open to anyone who wants to visit it and who wants to get to know a little bit more about how municipality and a region can be led towards development. But from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our hearts, with the will to actually bring development about. If there's no will, no matter how beautiful the plan is, no one will actually get to work. So I would like to invite everyone, NGOs, ambassadors, ministers, directors, to please take this plan very seriously. And in the future, in 3 years' time, we can maybe come together again and we can tell people, look at all the beautiful projects that we achieved. Thank you very much for being here, and God willing, this master plan for the Trifinio region will be a huge success. Thank you, and God bless you all. Once again, thank you very much, and the remarks will come to a close with Mr. Mauricio Arias, representing the regions of Honduras. Could he maybe be in the adjoining room? After this, we'll move on to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding in the adjoining room. But before we do so, Mr. Arias, the floor is completely yours. Welcome. Have a great day. Good morning, Honorable Vice Presidents. It is an honor and a great source of pride to be here in El Salvador. We feel quite well represented. Thank you for granting us the opportunity of being able to say a few words today. We believe that this master plan of the Trifinio area is a great opportunity, but we also believe from the municipal point of view that these plans need to be built in partnership and in participation with local governments, where the strategic development plans of each sector are taken into consideration. I believe it's very valuable, but if I may, I would like to make a suggestion and a contribution to the master plan. I am from the municipality of Copán, a touristic municipality. We have a World Heritage Site, and the plan talks about promotion. But we have said that in order to foster development and to seize the opportunities that may arise, I heard a lot about the Lempa River. We have a microbasin that feeds the Motagua River, and from a point of view, we have an idea about how to generate wealth, how to generate jobs and sustainability over time. So we have always thought that the damage, the harm that's being caused in the environment is quite big. How can we generate jobs? Well, by providing a territory that's set up by 2 indigenous communities. The tools to initiate a reforestation process in the microbasin so that we can generate wealth in the long term, and we can generate jobs in the short term, and be sure that this will enable migration to come to an end, because what our people need is just a chance to work. I would like to request our presidential appointee, Lourdes Gutierrez, to hopefully provide a little bit of feedback on this master plan so it can be a very comprehensive tool of the 45 municipalities that compose the Sica region. Also, in the tourism sector, we've talked to mayors from Guatemala and mayors from El Salvador about how we can better connect ourselves. How can we seize upon the potential of the tourism that can benefit all the municipalities? There needs to be will from all 3 governments to see how we can connect ourselves. We have the tools, we have the opportunities, and I believe that political will is also there. With you, I had a precedent of having a conversation with Vice President of Guatemala, saying why not freeing the Trifinio areas so that they can be a free circulation and a free economy, so we can have people come along to generate opportunities. I mention opportunities because there are some constraints that happen. Trade continues to take place, and sometimes some policies constrain this process and allow people have to go through blind spots. So why don't we expand the Trifinio region so that they can be free movement areas and continue doing what has historically been done in our territories. The Copán ruins has an aerodrome which would facilitate the mobilization of tourists that come to El Salvador or to Guatemala so that they can connect with this aerodrome. But it needs to be a local airport that's adopted by all 3 countries. So maybe within the master plan, we would like to thank CABEI for the huge effort that they've done in order to create this master plan. But these are elements that can be added to it. I believe that with very specific contributions is the only way in which we can move forward. I would once again like to thank you for this opportunity, and I hope that you, Doris, presidential appointee from Honduras, you can be our voice so that we can move forward in an equitable way, and for this plan to be a model that can allow us to take off to a better future. Thank you all. God bless. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe that we now officially deliver the Trifinio Master Plan, something that will benefit all the communities and families in the region. We would like you to all please give a big round of applause to this event, but not before telling you that we will continue to the adjoining room, where we have scheduled a signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, and Plan Trifinio. This will take place in the adjoining room, Costa del Sol. All persons involved, you can please go to that signing ceremony. I would like to invite everyone to a coffee break in that same room. Good morning to you all.